Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Welcome into this Reaction Monday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo?
Chris?
How's it going?
It's going.
Hey, coming in hot on two wheels. I tell you what, we came in here faster than anybody ran last night in the All-Star race.
You know, I watched a couple of I don't even know if I'd call them highlights or not.
Just lights.
clips, I guess. Yeah, and I thought it was almost like they were running under yellow all night, I guess, because
it was brutal.
Ooh.
It was boring. It was brutal.
Is it because the track was so short?
It's because it's a one groove track, and that we've talked about this, Heather. The short track package on those new cars is still not worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of everything else, it was pretty much single file racing because there's only one real groove, and that's, you know, the normal low in the corners, high on the stretches, and you're good to go. And so, you know, it was tough to watch. Tough to watch.
Okay, so here's a question, and I feel more comfortable asking this since we're not going to have Heather on Wednesday because we're not going to have a show Wednesday. Do they go back?
You know, I said no. I think the atmosphere was fantastic, and that's one of the things that, you know, I don't know if you saw Heather's stand up from North Wilkesboro last night.
I saw she posted something. I didn't
get
she
posted it and had a lot of driver interviews, and everybody liked the environment, said the atmosphere was fantastic, but it was just a absolutely terrible race. And it's the only track that the entire field has ever been lapped in.
Ugh.
So
Larson lapped?
Not everybody, but it has happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 94. The winner of the race lapped every other car on the track.
Ooh.
All of them.
Ooh.
So it could
that's not a good thing.
It could just be North Wilkesboro. It could be a lot of things. I don't think it's all North Wilkesboro fault, but I certainly think that it has something to do with it.
I mean, has it happened anywhere else?
No.
So
it's never happened anywhere else. And
that's not nothing,
right? And the problem with the next gen cars is that, and they talked about this on the broadcast, it takes so much. It takes a really hard bump to move somebody, so people don't do it, especially in an all-star race.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're racing for
unless you're Pete Rose and Ray Fosse, right?
You're racing for $1 million, but that's the only thing you're racing for. The winner gets $1 million. Everybody else gets nothing. Nada, zero, zip, zilch. So if the race is
they get nothing, Cotton.
nothing. So if you're racing for $1 million and the leader of the race has been 4, 5, 10 seconds ahead of everybody throughout the entire.
You're just trying to get done.
You just want to get through
piece.
You just want to get through it. You don't want to lose money by losing the
Right.
car. So they're either going to have to make the All-Star race pay out a little bit for
top 5
or top 10 to get any kind of racing in the end, especially at North Wilkesboro. Kyle Larson wins
if they go back.
Yeah, I think they'll go back, and I hope they do so. And this is what I actually tweeted and replied to Heather's tweet was, fix the short track package, get it working at other places like Phoenix and Bristol and that sort of, so you know that it's working, and then try again. And I think everything else will go back. The truck race was fantastic. All of the other races you could probably get away with, but it's kind of like the fairgrounds. It got really boring and it wasn't worth it. So now you have to figure out a way to make it not boring.
Good luck with that.
Good luck. That's what I say. Kyle Larson wins $1 million last night. Bubba Wallace
and nobody else won anything.
That's right. Nobody else went. And it was so funny because Bubba.
Thank you for playing.
Bubba posted as he was walking out of the track into the garage area. He had his phone up and he said, well, P2 here at North Wilkesboro doesn't mean anything because only the winner gets any money. So
second place is the first loser, right?
Yeah, second place last night specifically is first loser because you don't get points, you don't get anything. You literally get nothing. You just wasted
sweated
gas
for 4 hours.
Well, it wasn't really because it's only 200 laps. So instead of it being, they only had one real pit stop, and there was one caution on like lap 18. One caution in 200 laps. Because if you're not racing, you're not going to need, who needs a caution?
And who needs a pit stop? So
Bubba and Kyle Larson and a few others pitted at 18, got new tires, came out, were sitting at the back of the pack, ran to the front and stayed there.
And just paraded around the track.
Stayed there. Yeah, they were just waving outside. I mean, that's how it was. It was a crazy night. But, I watched it. I watched it really more for the nostalgia than anything. Glad they went there. Glad that it was a great event, but it was not a great race. And there's a great
event, but it wasn't a great race.
And there's a difference. I mean, that's kind of like, there's some things that happen in Nashville that are great events, and the focus of the event is not great at all. So it just is what it is. Right. It happens. But anyway, we were gonna talk about that in top story 2, but that became top story 1. That's okay.
Right off the rip.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. But appreciate you guys being here. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a great show lined up as we'll talk NCAA softball regionals here in just a second. We've got Chris Lee to preview the SEC baseball tournament. Spring Fling is coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit because, again, as Mo just said, we're not going to be on the air. He and I are not going to be on the air at our normal time slot beginning tomorrow through Friday. So you guys will be listening to the fantastic voice of Chip Walters and Neil Price.
The pride of the dimple.
Pride of the dimple and Lawrenceburg's finest, Neil Price.
That's right.
So you get a lot of Southern Middle Tennessee flair, just like on this show, but it's going to be 2 different voices. And that's okay.
Definitely different.
But they'll keep you updated on what scores, what's the schedule, what's going on at Spring Fling with Spring Fling HQ. And that'll be happening starting tomorrow from 3 until 8 p.m. And we'll also have you covered from 10 until 5 p.m. or maybe 6 on Wednesday and Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll be covering sports and they'll not be doing their show. So you'll probably get a best of show on Friday and then again on Monday for Memorial Day. So hope we've got enough good segments to fill to fill 3 hours, Mo.
You got plenty of good stuff.
It's gonna be fun to look through and figure it out. But yeah, all of that is coming up here in just a few moments. We've got our top story here in just a minute, but also we want to get you through the scores from over the weekend and a schedule. It includes some of today. It includes some of this week. It's got a lot. So I'm trying to do this as I'm trying to be as comprehensive as I could today without going over the top. Yes, timely and comprehensive.
That's it.
Which is the motto here. So we'll do that, and we'll do it today on the Rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Down at Yow and Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education in Murray County. Give them a call today at 931-388-5831 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule your appointment today. Zion Christian Academy. Prepared for college, equipped for purpose.
Baseball action on Friday. Clarksville down in Arlington 9-3. It was Green Hill 6-0 over Centennial, but CCCHS comes back in game 3 with a 6-3 win to punch their ticket to the state tournament.
As I pulled into the parking lot from umpiring Friday night down in Brentwood, the final pitch was thrown in that ball game.
Well, that's fantastic, man. Congratulations to Centennial on that program. Greenbrier downs Hardin County 5-3, while Independence blanked Mount Juliet in game 2, 5-0. Milan bounced back from game 1 loss to Loretto and ended the Mustangs season 6-2 and 10-0. South Gibson was a 9-1 winner over Murfreesboro Central Magnet. Stewart's Creek down Shelbyville 11-1, and Walker Valley edged Smyrna 8-7. In softball action, it was Arlington edging Rossview 3-2, and Coffee County a 4-0 winner over Smyrna. Eagleville blanked Perry County 12-0, and Green Hill was a 7-2 winner over Centennial. Lexington 6-0 over Greenbrier. McNairy Central 10, Montgomery Central 0. Same score for Nolansville over Beach. Riverdale doubles up Warren County 10-5. It was Saudi Daisy 7, Page 3. That's a tough trip for the Lady Patriots on that one. Joe Burns blanked South Pittsburgh 3-0 in Westview. Again, we gave you this score last week on Friday. Defeats Summertown 3-0. On Sunday, Waverly completes the sweep of Region 5. And they get a 4-2 win over Loretto, ending the Lady Mustangs season.
Boys soccer over the weekend. Christian Brothers with a 3-2 win over Ensworth. That was on Friday. On Saturday, Brentwood blanked Hendersonville 4-0. It was Laverne 2, Cleveland 0. Collierville 2-1 over Clarksville. Harpeth 1, Loretto 0. Lausanne defeated Franklin Grace 3-0. Madison Academic with an 8-0 win over Republic. Christ Presbyterian edged McCallie 1-0. Merrill Hyde with an 8-1 win over Forest. Martin Luther King 2, Murfreesboro Central 0. Montgomery Bell Academy with a 2-1 win over Memphis University School. University School of Nashville 1, Notre Dame 0. Bartlett 3-2 over Rossview. Siegel 3, Howard 0. Station Camp edged Franklin 1-0. Valor Collegiate with a 4-0 win over Sycamore. And on Sunday, Chattanooga School of Arts and Sciences, CSAS 5, Hip Nashville 0. College baseball action over the weekend. Vanderbilt defeated Arkansas 10-8 and 7-6 after dropping the Thursday opener in that series. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Vanderbilt takes 2 out of 3 and goes into the SEC tournament this week as the number 4 seed. Again, we'll be visiting with Chris Lee of Southeastern 14 to talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. Tennessee splits a doubleheader, falling to South Carolina 6-1, defeating the host Gamecocks 12-1. They nailed down the number 7 seed with that series win. North Alabama defeats Austin P 5-4. Austin P comes back with a 6-2 win. Belmont defeats Bradley 5-3 and 12. Falls to Bradley 4-3. Lipscomb swept Jacksonville State, completing that sweep with a 6-5 and a 9-6 win.
And earned the number 1 seed in regular season ASUN championship doing so.
Well, they didn't lose a series all year.
So there you go. It's easy to win if you don't do that.
Yeah. Things didn't go so well in the Queen City for the Blue Raiders as Charlotte defeated Middle Tennessee State 14-5 and 5-2. Guess all the good luck went south.
It must
for
have.
Murfreesboro.
College softball action. Tennessee blanks Northern Kentucky 12-0 and then defeats Indiana 9-1, but not without some controversy. And they also defeated Indiana again in the championship 7-3. That one didn't have controversy. Middle Tennessee State blanked Central Arkansas 8-0 in 5 innings to open their regional series, and then fell to Alabama 12-5 before blanking UCA again 3-0, and then taking down the Crimson Tide 4-1 to force the if game. And Allie Shipman's home run in the top of the 7th inning was the difference as Alabama sends Middle Tennessee State home, but not with their heads held any lower. 1-0, the final there. Go ahead. Major League Baseball action. The Braves took 2 of 3 from the Mariners, 6-2 and 3-2, but the Mariners took game 2, 7-3. It was the Dodgers 5-0 winners over the Cardinals in game 2 of that series, but St. Louis with the final 2 wins, 6-5 and 10-5, 3-1. The Cardinals are 21-27, and I don't know that they've lost in the last 3 weeks, other than that.
Yeah, which tells you how bad they were.
Yankees sweep the Reds 6-2, 7-4 and 10 and 4-1. Rays take 2 of 3 from the Brewers 1-0, 8-4, and Brewers win game 3 6-4. The Sounds and Durham split the 6-game series. Nashville won on Friday 10-4, lost on Saturday 5-3, and won Sunday in the finale 6-4.
WNBA action over the weekend. The Connecticut Sun defeated the Indiana Fever 70-61. It was the Washington Mystics 80, the New York Liberty 64. Chicago Sky with a 77-66 win over the Minnesota Lynx. The LA Sparks 94, the Phoenix Mercury 71 on Friday night. Phoenix is not very good.
No, they're not.
Even with Griner and Taurasi.
Yeah.
They're not very good.
They're not.
Dallas Wings with an 85-78 win over the Atlanta Dream and Ron Howard. Boo. Las Vegas Aces defeated the Seattle Storm 105-64. Ooh.
Yeah. Who needs Becky Hammond?
Yeah. The Sun with an 80-74 win over the Mystics. The Liberty bounced back for a 90-73 win over the Fever. Speaking of not very good. And the Chicago Sky with a 75-69 win over the Mercury. In soccer action, the Nashville Soccer Club stays hot. Glad somebody could win in Charlotte. 2-1 over the Charlotte Football Club.
Today's softball action. The last spring fling ticket will be punched as Westmoreland is at Community tonight at 5:00, and gotta think the Vi Queens will be in full force for that one.
Everybody in Unionville will be there.
No doubt. Spring fling tomorrow. Baseball action at 4:00 is Walker Valley and Centennial. Coalfield's at Eagleville. Coalfield is at Eagleville. That's right. Silverdale takes on Good Pasture. Greenbrier takes on Lincoln County. McCallie has Lipscomb Academy, and Clarksville has Stewart's Creek, while Forest and White House Heritage will play at 6:30. It's Knox Catholic and CPA, Bradford, East Robertson, Farragut, Independence, and Peabody, Joe Burns.
Spring fling softball. 2:00 Tuesday, Joe Burns faces Halls. That's Halls from West Tennessee, not Knoxville Halls. At 3:00, North Green faces Eagleville. At 4:30, it's Nolensville and Coffee County. And at 5:30, it's Riverdale and Green Hill. Boys soccer action, 1:30, Station Camp takes on Siegel. At 2, it's Brentwood and Bearden. Also at 2, it's Bartlett and Laverne. 4:00 has Harpeth playing Merrill Hyde. At 6:30, Valor Collegiate takes on East Hamilton. And at 7, Martin Luther King faces Signal Mountain. College baseball tournament action at Hoover. Tennessee and Texas A&M play at 12:30 on Tuesday. That game can be seen on the SEC network, followed by, never mind. On Wednesday, Vanderbilt will face the Auburn, Missouri winner. And not sure what time that game is. And championship of the SEC tournament will be played on Tuesday. I'm sorry. on Sunday. I'm just skipping. We're going straight to the championship. Sunday championship, 3 o'clock, ESPN2.
We're going to the ship.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, ASUN tournament is down at Stetson. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. on ESPN Plus is Lipscomb and Liberty. Wednesday, Austin P has Eastern Kentucky at 7 p.m. All of these games on ESPN Plus, by the way. On Thursday, it's Lipscomb versus Florida Gulf Coast at 10 a.m. Austin P will take on Stetson following that game. On Friday, Lipscomb has Jacksonville at 10 a.m. Jacksonville State will take on Austin P on Friday at 7. And the championship is Sunday at 1 p.m. Do you know how this works? I'm fixing to tell you, and you're gonna love this. 2 pools.
Stair step?
2 pools.
Okay.
Pool A and Pool B, top 8 teams. Pool A is the 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds. Pool B is the 5, 6, 7, and 8 seeds. The top 3 finishers in Pool A go to the semifinals. The top 1 finisher of Pool B goes to the semifinals, and you play the number 1 seed out of the A side if you're in Pool B to start the whole thing on Saturday. It's phenomenal. It's a great way to do a conference tournament. I love it.
Well, it certainly incentivizes the regular season finish.
It does, in fact, because you got to finish. If you finish 5 through 8, you get 1 shot.
1 shot.
So it's pretty
Would
cool.
you take it?
Hey, I mean, Missouri Valley Conference plays at Indiana State. Beautiful facility there, by the way. Belmont has Illinois Chicago tomorrow at 1:30 on ESPN Plus. Conference USA tournaments at Rice, and it's the 2 seed Roadrunners of Texas San Antonio and taking on Middle Tennessee State. That's Wednesday at noon 30 on ESPN Plus. The championship of that one is Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS Sports Network.
College softball super regionals begin Friday. Texas is at Tennessee for a 3 o'clock game on Friday on ESPN2. Game 2 will be Saturday at 2 o'clock, also on ESPN Plus. Major League Baseball this week. The Dodgers come to Truist Park for a 3-game series against the Braves. St. Louis is at Cincinnati. Houston is at Milwaukee. In minor league action beginning tomorrow, the Iowa Cubs come to First Horizon Park, taking on the Sounds. Soccer action this week. On Tuesday, the Nashville Soccer Club goes to Inter Miami
And that's
Football Club. Is that U.S. Open
That's
Cup?
U.S. Open Cup.
Okay.
And then the other one is regular
And
season
then
play.
on Sunday, the Columbus Crew comes to Geodis taking on the Nashville Soccer Club. That's a 7:30 first touch on Sunday, and that is your rundown.
All right. Now to our top story. We're getting there, maybe, eventually.
Slowly.
MELO, Carmelo Anthony, announces retirement for nearly 2 decades in the NBA. That's the thing, is that Carmelo's national championship happened my senior year in high school, so I feel like
His national championship at Syracuse was your senior year in high school.
So there you go.
So it's kind of the end of an era for you.
It
then.
is.
Yeah.
It is. It's kind of like that and LeBron. When LeBron's gone, that will be my high school. My high school career will then be kind of the era will end because LeBron, his high school game was on TV my senior year.
That's wild.
It is. But yeah, so man, you think about it, all the years, Carmelo was kind of he was kind of shipped off here and there. He played for a lot of teams.
He did.
And was never a superstar, but was always an above average, very good player in the NBA, a guy that you could build around, but he was never, he never took the step that a lot of people thought he was going to take. And that was to be, the next Jordan type that just took over games.
Yeah, that's and it'll be an interesting question. You often ask these questions. Carmelo Anthony, Hall of Famer, or is he just a Hall of Very Gooder?
I think he's a Hall of Very Good. I think not winning a ring really hurts.
And again, he was a guy who was traded a lot, but he was a guy that was traded for a lot.
Yeah.
He was a guy that you could build around. He was a primary scorer for a lot of teams, but
He was always on a lot of very bad teams too.
Yeah.
He was on a lot of really bad teams.
Through no fault of his own, necessarily.
And that's not his fault. Right. And so it's kind of, other than maybe he might have signed to play for the Knicks on his own accord.
I'd be interested to know, because again, I don't follow the NBA nearly as closely now as I used to. I wonder what a good comp for Carmelo Anthony is in terms of what he did and what he didn't accomplish. Who real NBA folks would kind of, compare him to.
That's a good question. I mean, historically, it would be tough. Look, 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA second teamer, never made the first team apparently, 4-time third teamer, scoring champion in 13, All-Rookie first team, 75th anniversary team. So that right there tells you he's probably a Hall of Famer.
75th, yeah.
I think, yeah. And then, of course, all of the other things that he did in college and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Scored 22 and a half a game, pulled down just over 6 boards, and had just under 3 assists per game. That's, to me, that's Hall of Fame worthy.
But like you said,
I mean, numbers wise,
the numbers, but no ring.
Here's the problem. And, there are guys like Charles Barkley who don't have a ring, right? But Charles played for 2 teams. And I think that makes a difference to a lot of voters.
And Charles played for 2 teams that were right there.
Yeah, they were close.
Lot. Both Philadelphia and Phoenix.
Yeah.
But Philadelphia had to go through Boston, and Phoenix had to go through the Lakers. I guess Philadelphia also had to go through Chicago at some point.
Right.
Yeah. But, so yeah.
Not just and Detroit.
Yeah.
So the East was rough when
the East
when he was a 76er.
Yeah, the East, as opposed to now.
Yeah, not so bad now. And that's that's another thing. You wished for it, and it's coming true. We're getting Heat Nuggets, baby. Heat Nuggets is coming.
Love it.
Adam Silver's face went from Lakers, Celtics?
No,
Denver Heat. Crap. That's exactly what you felt like.
Joker and Jimmy Butler.
Hey, I'm for that. It's going to be a good series that nobody's going to see. It's going to be a fantastic series that nobody's going to watch. Be the greatest NBA finals nobody ever saw.
Yeah, tell me how it ends.
But yeah, Denver for 8 years, New York for 6, Oklahoma City for a year, Houston for a year, Portland for 2, and then the Lakers for 2.
Goodness gracious.
That's tough.
Oklahoma City, Houston, Portland. I mean, those are kind of the lost years right there.
And well, those couple of Portland years were right before they got good. Because the last 2 or 3 years,
right before they got good,
last 2 or 3 years,
right before Dame Lillard got there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I think he's probably a Hall of Famer, objectively, but I think that and I don't know. I mean, do writers vote for? Is that how it works? I don't know how the NBA. I
don't know exactly how it works.
Does the NBA have a Hall of Fame, or is it just a basketball Hall of Fame? Because if it's a basketball Hall of Fame, he's in.
Well, yeah, just because of not just because, but largely because of what he did at Syracuse.
That may be I think that's, yeah. Mm-hmm. If it's basketball Hall of Fame, he's in.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So, we've got comments here. Old Geezer says OTAs tomorrow, football. Thank God.
Oh goodness!
And listen,
dude,
I'm trying to get
this dude's wishing his life away.
Yeah,
I can wait on football.
Yeah,
football in May, bruh.
Well, unless it's spring football, then I don't care. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you because none of it matters. Now, you want to talk USFL? That's fine. We'll talk a little Alex McGee and whipping up on the Michigan Panthers. That's always fun, but that's about it. The Showboats, by the way, after getting shellacked by the Stallions, undefeated since. have turned Todd Haley turned that touchdown in the last 3 seconds of the game into some motivation for the Showboats, and they swapped quarterbacks, and things have been well, steaming right along. Let's take
that note.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit of college softball. So y'all stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll come back to the Lee Company studio in just a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Attention Tennessee homeowners, we want to buy your house. Hi, we are Real Property Solutions, a local real estate investing group. We pay cash for all types of property, so you walk away with more money in your pocket because we eliminate any fees, closing costs, and commissions. Now the best part, we can buy your house as is, meaning you don't have to do a thing to your property. You get to take what you want, leave what you don't, and don't even worry about cleaning. We close on your timeline, whether that's 7 days or 70 days. Interested in selling? Just give us a call and we'll come out to your property and quote you a cash offer within 24 hours. Please call 615-527-8750. That's 615-527-8750.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back to the Lee Company studio we go. Mo, heck of a weekend for college softball. And I got to tell you, having every game on ESPN Plus and not having to search for it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who don't have an Apple TV box or whatever, kind of like the Roku stick, get you one of those, because they allow you to do 4 screens at once. And it's pretty cool. And you should definitely get one before football.
Friday? Oh, before football.
I mean,
okay.
Get one before Friday if you can for the Super Regionals. But for football, that's a game changer. I mean, that is an absolute game changer. So, yeah. But, man, what a great weekend for college softball. You had so many great storylines going on into Sunday, but even on day 2, when the number 2 seed UCLA Bruins go 2 and fire up the grill barbecue,
That was nuts.
That is nuts.
That was nuts.
I mean, Liberty and Grand Canyon, which Grand Canyon, by the way, pretty good softball program. But certainly did not see
Liberty coached by the legendary Doc Richardson.
Yeah, look, I didn't think Liberty was going to go out west and win that thing, but I certainly thought that they had an opportunity to be, disruptive, like
they were,
like a lot of the teams that went into Power 5 schools and were
UCLA
successful.
was the number 2 seed. I mean, we talk about selection committees. I mean, were some of these other teams underseeded? I mean,
I don't
clearly
know.
though, as you look at it at this point.
Well, yeah,
they go
hindsight.
0-2.
Sure. I mean, hindsight's 2020. I think UCLA had a great year, and they didn't have a great Pac-12 tournament. Utah got hot and ran kind of through it. But yeah, I mean, you're always going to see a little bit of bias like you do in football with the SEC for the Pac-12 in softball.
Mm-hmm.
There's just going to be a little bit of bias.
That said, though, I mean, clearly Liberty, Grand Canyon, and San Diego State were pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I think.
And it just seems like for a number 2, perhaps UCLA was not done any favors.
Well, and that's possible. But then you look around and let's just, go through the champions here. You're talking about, obviously Oklahoma won, but Washington had to score 7 runs in the 7th to beat McNeese. So, obviously San Diego State beat Liberty, by the way. So clearly that was, maybe they didn't get any favors. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Louisiana takes out LSU
in Baton Rouge. LSU is the number 10 national seed. They don't get out of Baton Rouge. Ditto for Arkansas.
Arkansas's gone. There's only 3 SEC teams. 12 got in. 3 remain.
Yeah.
And one of them had to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, survive. So, look, I just think this was a really good weekend for college softball for 2 reasons. One, it showed that parity in the game
is coming.
Is here. I mean, let's think about it. You're talking about McNeese. You're talking about Liberty. You're talking about Grand Canyon beating UCLA. You're talking about who was it that you're talking about? Charlotte, who got to a championship, Middle Tennessee State, obviously, which we'll talk about.
But for all that, though, Chris, only 3 national seeds went down.
Only 3 national seeds went down. But
again,
Washington, Alabama, Oklahoma State, and Northwestern all had to win the second game, the if game. And Nebraska ran out of gas. I texted with Mary and Angus and said, what happened to your Huskers in the 7th? Because they gave up 4 runs in the 7th. They were up 2-1. Gave up 4 in the top of the 7th to lose. I mean,
I'm going to tell you what. I don't think the broadcasters for that Alabama MTSU game did this situation justice, but the stolen base there in the bottom of the 6th, I think, I'm not sure she was out. And maybe I'm a little biased, but I thought she got tagged on the back leg and the front foot got in. And then the next girl singles up the middle.
I will tell you this.
Potentially changes the entire complexion of that ball game.
Whether she was safe or out.
She was going to be out?
No. Whether she was safe or out.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the umpire?
He was on the backside?
Backside, but a nonchalant, like it was 2 steps. Like the throw beat her there a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, buddy, you didn't sell that to me.
And that's
I don't disagree.
The closer the call,
the harder I'm selling.
Yeah, and he
just made it look like it was routine.
Yep, and
it was
far from routine.
No,
at best, and he might have kicked it.
I think it was close enough that I'm not going to say either way. It was close. I don't know that there was ample evidence to overturn it. I don't know that if he had called her safe that they could have overturned her to out. That's my point. I think that the call was what he called, and it is what it is.
And for that much gray, I don't think the broadcasters did it justice.
Now, I guess after the single, they did mention, they said, Middle Tennessee State could potentially be up a run right here. Oh, going to the 7th. That's what it was when we went to the 7th. And they said, obviously the out at second base changed the complete complexity of the game, and it did. Sure. But one pitch, that's all it takes. And Allie Shipman made Middle Tennessee State pay for it.
She got all of that one too,
and knew it. And so, you've got, she had all the momentum in the world. She just threw out the girl at second base. She comes up and
maybe,
but in her mind, that's, the momentum is in her, is in her face. The juices are flowing, and I don't think it was a bad pitch. It was up and in, and she just turned on it.
That's it.
And, kudos to Middle Tennessee State, because look, they were winning game 1 against Alabama, and I turned on the TV, and I'm not going to tell you when I turned on the TV last night. Right after the single in the 6th. I turned on the TV after the single in the 6th.
And you saw the home run.
Next girl gets out. I see the home run, and I turned it off.
It's too late by then, bro.
Too late.
You've done it.
I was hoping that maybe my not watching would spur some offense in the bottom half.
Nope.
It did not.
Nope.
Seriously, every single time I turned on Middle Tennessee State, Alabama this weekend,
don't
bad
finish,
things
don't
happened.
No.
And
yet you kept turning it on.
I was hoping that it had worn off after Friday.
Clearly it had not.
It did not. That's rough, man. And because I wanted to watch it so bad, and I'm just like, and I was trying not to watch it on Sunday because, and they did win the first game. So when it got to 0-0, and I'm like, I really want to watch this. I really want to watch it. And
it's all about you, isn't it?
It was my fault. Yeah. We'll have to call coach and let him know.
It's all about, yeah.
It's my bad.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what, though. For all the talk about Montana Fouts, Jada Torrance pitched her fanny off.
I think she was probably
Jayla Torrance. Excuse me.
She was probably the most important player wearing crimson on over the weekend. No question.
Well, especially with Montana Fouts out.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, either there was all the pressure in the world or there was no pressure.
Right.
And I don't know. She clearly pitched like there was none. So, but Middle Tennessee State with a couple home runs in that to force the if game. I mean, they look like they had it going. And what a performance by this team.
Pride of Chapel Hill, Laura Mueller. Look at there.
I mean, it was so exciting, to kind of watch that team go from the 6th seed struggling out in Texas just before the Conference USA tournament against North Texas to beat them in the championship game. Takes 12 innings to do it. Go in there and absolutely outscored Central Arkansas 11-0.
A team that had won 44 games,
number 24
and that probably
in
should have hosted.
Number 24 in the country.
Yeah,
and just made them look like they were also Rams.
Get you some of this.
So, kudos, man. I mean,
they. It's like I posted on Twitter right after the game. They knew they were there.
That's right. Alabama certainly knows who Middle Tennessee State is now, and they'll never take them lightly again. At least not in the next 4 years.
If they did, and I'm not going to say that they did, but I mean, Middle went down there and made a statement.
Well, it's not the first time that Alabama's played Middle. I mean, this is and Middle had never beaten them until game 1 of that championship series.
You got to deal with that anymore.
Right. So that monkey's off your back, and you can kind of play loose or whatever. And maybe they did play loose. I mean, heck,
May
again, it
make
was
it
one pitch.
May make it a little tougher for Jeff Breeden to get a schedule.
Again, I think that's the thing is you can schedule the McNeeses now. You can schedule, Louisville. You can schedule.
Well, you can schedule them without it necessarily penalizing you, but
by the way,
but your fans don't want to see that.
No, I understand, but that's the good thing is you don't have to worry about your RPI going down just because, you had a good regional tournament. You can schedule these other, by the way, Liberty's coming to your conference. So there's that. I mean, this is softball had a great weekend.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It wasn't just the College World Series. And I think that makes a difference. It was a big weekend for college softball because it was more than 8 teams.
Yeah. And it was competitive, like you said. I mean, a lot. There was a lot going on this weekend, and for those that paid attention, congrats. For those that didn't, you missed out.
What are you doing? Well, and Tennessee goes on to win. But again, like I said, not without some controversy on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday morning they're playing Indiana, and Indiana loads the bases because Tennessee's pitcher can't hold the softball
because of the rain.
It was just coming down. And someone said, if she can't handle a little rain, get somebody who can. And I'm like, do you not? You can see the rain on the TV. I mean, she's trying to wipe her hands, but her towel's wet. Everything's wet. And I understand Indiana being upset, but your coach standing in front of the tarp so they can't roll the tarp out? Are you kidding me? That's absolutely
what?
Yes. Indiana's head coach stood in front of the grounds crew so that they could not roll the tarp out.
On their field.
On Tennessee's field. Yes.
Wow. That takes some intestinal fortitude right there.
And she had no shame in doing it. I mean, stood there and argued with the umpires.
Well, she got hers.
So they eventually rolled the tarp out, though.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And then they got rolled back to Bloomington.
They sure did.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. We need to talk about the Braves, and we'll do that on the other side of this. So stick around here. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton back to the Lee Company studio right after this.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
May 22nd, 2006. Between strikeouts, the Braves knocked off host San Diego 3-1 on the strength of a Ryan Langerhans 2-run homer in the second inning and a Chipper Jones solo shot in the ninth. Padres starter Jake Peavy struck out 16 in 7 innings, including each Atlanta starter at least once, as he and 3 relievers combined to set a 9-inning franchise record with 18 punchouts. That was this day in Braves history.
Not a great day. We'll move on.
What is it? 3 true outcomes: strikeout, walk, home run.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Good weekend for the Braves.
It was.
You went.
It Saturday was a little but
yeah, 3 errors. You're like, what in the world's going on?
Well, you see 3 errors, but one of them was a Ronald Acuna throw that was on the money that hit Julio Rodriguez in the back as he slid into third.
Well, I was wondering if they give him an error when he bobbled, and yet the guy didn't run.
I think he did run.
No, it loaded the bases. It kept the bases loaded when he bobbled that. Only 1 run. The guy from second did not score in scoring position, did not even try. Ronald Acuna, even after he bobbled the ball.
Oh, smart kid.
If that don't tell you something.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was just a weird game.
It was a weird
bullpen game. It's a bullpen game. Yeah. Jesse Chavez gave you 2+ really good innings. Michael Tonkin screwed everything up.
Well, and that's the thing about a bullpen game. You can pretty well expect somebody to spit the bit in that situation. I mean, the more times you open that door, the more times you don't know what's coming out of it. And Saturday it was Michael Tonkin.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily Michael's fault. Everybody's going to have some bad games, but and that was one of the things that was talked about ahead of this is you can't expect everybody in your bullpen to be on their A game
every game
on the same day.
Well,
you're just not going to get that ever. So you either got to score a bunch of runs and hope for the best, and they didn't. So, it is what it is. I'm not ever going to expect to win a bullpen.
Well, unless you score 10 runs.
But I'm not going into it expecting to win.
Yeah.
I'm just going to expect that we're conceding this one. And Brian Snicker wasted no time doing that.
Yeah, bringing Joe Jimenez in the 5th.
Well, he just assumed that, look, I need other arms tomorrow, I guess.
Well,
because Jared Schuster was pitching, and you normally have to go 2 or 3 times, or maybe even 4 times into the pen when Schuster's normally pitched.
And Jimenez, at least perhaps this is a realization on Brian Snicker's part that Joe Jimenez is not an arm you need to go to in a game you're actually trying to win.
Right. That appears to be his mindset at this point.
And neither is Kirby Yates. I'm done with that experiment.
Kirby's done. And here's the thing. Kirby and Jimenez were both closers at one point in their career. I mean, Kirby went down with that injury, came off Tommy John, ended up not being very good. Jimenez, I don't think, was ever very good.
Well, he was good in Detroit. So was Shane Green.
Well, Shane Green was good for Atlanta for about 3 months. No, you remember we were begging to get Shane Green back after he got hurt, remember? And we went to see him pitch for Gwinnett because we were so excited that they signed him.
Oh, when he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the first. After the trade, he wasn't very good. He was good early the next year.
He got hurt. Before he got hurt, he had a stretch of about 3 months where he was lights out. And he got hurt. We re-signed him after in like May.
Yeah.
And he came back to Gwinnett, pitched for Gwinnett, and was terrible here. He was terrible in Nashville with Gwinnett. Then he was terrible in Atlanta. And then I don't even know if he's pitching anymore. He may be in the Japan minor leagues with Trevor Bauer. I don't know.
I don't know if he's in the Japan minor leagues, but I do think he was on the Dodgers roster at one time because I think I looked.
So, we were all pumped up about Shane Green coming back, and then nothing. Trash in the trash can.
Yeah, he is apparently
Still
on
with
the
the Dodgers.
On the Dodgers.
A lot of familiar faces, and that's one of the things I was going to talk about here. Jason Hayward, Freddie Freeman, Craig Kimbrell, Shelby Miller, and Shane Green all coming back to Atlanta. And somebody tweeted, I don't know, did you see this, where the last time Charlie Morton faced Jason Hayward and Freddie Freeman was in a spring training game in 2009.
Split squad?
No.
Oh, when he was with the Pirates?
When he was with someone. I don't know who. And from there, the tweet said, who would have thought when those three saw each other again that Morton would be the only one wearing a Braves uniform? So
I'm gonna hot take you here.
All right, go ahead.
I kind of wish we'd hit Freddie Freeman.
I don't know. Last year when he came back and had the meltdown and fired his agent and all of that, I kind of just said, okay, the Freddie drama's over. We're past it now. It's all done.
Well, let's put it behind us for good.
Hit him. I don't know, man, because here's the thing. If Freddie doesn't win a ring with the Dodgers, I think he's going to want an A on his cap when they etch his plaque. And I don't know if I want.
What necessarily makes you think they're going to be etching his plaque?
Are you kidding me? You're telling me Freddie Freeman is not a future Hall of Famer?
I don't know.
Freddie Freeman's a future Hall of Famer. I mean, unless the next 8 years of his career look like Andrew Jones's last, 5 or 6. But I don't see that happening. I mean, just based off of future projections, if he stays the normal course that he's been staying, he's a future Hall of Famer.
He plays first base.
Mm-hmm.
A position that's really relatively loaded right now.
I don't think that's going to matter.
Well, I think one of the keys
in 20 years.
I think one of the keys to being a Hall of Fame inductee is, where you stand relative to your peers. It's not just about the numbers. I think it's about the results compared to other people's results at your position. Is Freddie Freeman the best first baseman in the National League even?
I think you're going to have a hard time convincing many people that he's not.
Does Paul Goldschmidt no longer exist?
I mean, I think Goldie's. I mean, I think there's a tier 1, and I think Goldie. I think Freeman is in that tier.
I think Joey Votto, when he's healthy, is in that tier.
Votto's one of those fringe guys for sure. He can be when he's at the top of his game. Joey Votto's as good as anybody. Mm-hmm. But when do you get Joey Votto at the top of his game? Freddie Freeman's currently hitting .321 with a .547 slugging percentage, .942 OPS, and he struck out just 35 times this year. He's having a really good year. He's not hitting a lot of home runs. Didn't hit a lot of home runs last year. I wonder if there's something about LA. I don't know. And out west.
I wonder if that elbow's still bothering him.
Could be. But and also not having the short porch and right like the Chop House has probably made a difference as well. I don't know. I'll be interested to see how this weekend goes. I'm excited because I love playing the Dodgers because I love to hate them. And Dodgers Braves series are almost always fun. This one particularly, like I said, with so many familiar faces coming back. Jason Hayward in particular, who's having a pretty good year. Can't wait to see him. And, of course, Mookie will be in tow with the Dodgers. So.
That's the one that scares me.
You got to be careful. Got to be careful. And
we got to be careful. We got to try to avoid Pernell Knox this week.
I don't know. It just depends on how things go tonight, and tomorrow, because we won't see him until Wednesday. So
speak for yourself. I'm gonna see him here in a couple of hours. Yeah.
Well, we don't have to see him until Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so
to answer our question regarding Shane Green, he was released last year by the Dodgers.
Okay, so he's not a Dodger.
Signed a minor league contract with the Yankees about a year ago, and is a free agent, it seems, according to his wiki. So
he can stay that way. And as far as Braves fans are concerned, he can stay a free agent.
And it's unfortunate. He's a Florida kid, and the Braves tend to do well with kids from the Southeast. I mean, kids that have grown up as Braves fans and that kind of thing. It's fun to see, and he was, and just no,
exactly.
I'm good.
All right, we're going to take a break. Chris Lee is standing by, so we'll talk Southeastern Conference baseball right after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint in the Lee Company studio. In just a moment, come on back. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Attention Tennessee homeowners, we want to buy your house. Hi, we are Real Property Solutions, a local real estate investing group. We pay cash for all types of property, so you walk away with more money in your pocket because we eliminate any fees, closing costs, and commissions. Now the best part, we can buy your house as is, meaning you don't have to do a thing to your property. You get to take what you want, leave what you don't, and don't even worry about cleaning. We close on your timeline, whether that's 7 days or 70 days. Interested in selling? Just give us a call and we'll come out to your property and quote you a cash offer within 24 hours. Please call 615-527-8750. That's 615-527-8750.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. In the Lee Company studio is Mo Patton, and I'm Chris Yow. Glad to have you guys with us here on this Reaction Monday, the only show of the week for us. So, again, looking forward to Chip Walters and Neil Price taking you through Spring Fling, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But right now, we go to the Real Property Solutions Hotline, where Southeastern 14's Chris Lee joins us. Chris, thanks for taking some time with us, man.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Eventful final weekend of Southeastern Conference baseball action, I guess.
Yeah. You know, and I can't remember if we talked about this on the show, but I'd said a week or two ago, I didn't think the SEC tournament was going to mean much. And in a way, it won. I mean, you got 10 teams that are going to be going to the NCAA tournament. I don't think there's any really question about any of those, but you got as many as 9 teams that could host, which is insane. There's 16 hosting spots, and I think you've got probably 5 that are going to be there for sure. And I think the league will get more than 5. I'm just not sure which 5, but you've got some teams suddenly with some things to play for, including maybe one in our backyard that is just trying to make sure it hosts 2 weekends instead of 1. And that last weekend certainly had a lot to shape the drama that we're in now, to put it where it is.
Yeah. Chris, before we get too deep into the SEC, I got to ask you, how does the Atlantic Coast Conference hold a tournament without Louisville or Florida State?
Ooh, boy, isn't that crazy? And Louisville was a team that, I don't know, a month ago was hosting, but that was just a team that didn't play well on the road. And Florida State, a program that's been, I think, probably in slow decline. And Mike Martin, of course, has been retired for a few years, and it hasn't quite been the same without him. But that's a program that is going to see its streak of 41 straight tournaments or whatever it is snapped. And which will leave Vandy is the team with the longest standing run. It's the SEC has been a great league this year, but let's give some props to the ACC because that's a tough one too.
And I what kind of drove this home for me was I saw a piece from friend of the show, Rick Bozich, out of Louisville, regarding and the Dan McDonald, is that his name? I lost his name there, the Louisville coach, but apparently his name has been associated with Alabama. And when I first heard that, I felt like that was kind of a lateral move at best. What's your read on any possibility of that?
It's funny. We were having this conversation in the press box at Vandy this weekend, and in the middle of that, he was sending out some tweets about facilities. I guess he's been begging for those for a while. The Ole Miss job last year, I think, was going to, well, I shouldn't say it was going to be his, but there was a lot of talk that would be his job if that came open. And I think it was going to come open had they moved on from Mike Bianco. Of course, he won the national title, and the rest is history. But I don't know if it is.
Sorry, I was no. I was being a little quiet. Sorry.
No. It's all good. I don't know if it's just a thing to get, if he's really interested in that job, if Louisville doesn't come through, if it's a ploy to get facilities at Louisville. But I know that is something that he visibly came out, or he came out and was pretty vocal about it on Twitter this weekend, apparently. And I don't know. Frustrations are building there. I think they've now missed the tournament 2 straight years, presuming they miss, which they will. And I think that's got something to do with it.
That's certainly interesting.
It really is. So tournament play opens tomorrow with 4 drop-dead games. South Carolina, Georgia in the lid lifter at 9:30. Are these times Central, Chris? Is that 9:30 our time tomorrow?
They are. Hoover's on Central, and they do the bracket in Central.
Well, all right. So it's South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and A&M, Kentucky and Alabama at 4:30, and then Auburn and Missouri. What are your thoughts about those?
I think 4 interesting games. The most interesting to me is Kentucky, Alabama. That's 2 teams that I think are probably the 2 most underrated teams in the league. I think they've got a lot of pitching depth. I think their styles play well to that park, particularly Kentucky. That's a game that the winner, especially if it's Alabama, well, either one could get a boost. I think right now I'd have Alabama and Kentucky both hosting, but you probably want to win a game or 2 if you're both those just to make sure, depending on what happens elsewhere. So that one's interesting to me because I think both those are really good teams with a little something to play for. Tennessee A&M is interesting. Tennessee's probably going to need to put together a little bit of run in Hoover to get a hosting bid. Again, it's one of 9 teams from the league trying to get there. So Auburn, Missouri. Auburn, I think, doesn't have a lot to play for. I think Auburn is probably going to be hosting, but maybe you don't want to take a chance. And then South Carolina certainly needs to, I think, win a game or 2 down there to feel better about its hosting. So, yeah, I think there's lots of angles in day one.
All 4 of the top 4 seeds, obviously, in national seed consideration, Vanderbilt the shakiest of those 4?
Definitely. But I was listening to Aaron Fitt this morning and the D1 guys, and I think I agree with this. I'm not going to say Vandy's a lock, is a top 8 seed, but it's pretty close. There's about maybe 9 teams jockeying for those 8 spots, probably the last 4 being Clemson, Virginia, Coastal Carolina, and Vandy. I think right now, if you freeze the field, I don't see how you leave Vandy out of that top 8. Just strong across the board in just about every category you would want to look at. I mean, 1 game below 500 on the road, that's something you'd like to see improve, but I don't think Vandy's the only team in that top 8 that's in that position. So it's just hard to win on the road. But yeah, I think right now as it stands, they're in a really good spot to get one of those top 8 spots, which hosts 2 weekends, presuming you win the first. But it's always what happens behind you, and could something happen to knock Vandy out of that top 8? Sure. But I think right now, if the field were picked, they'd feel okay about it.
Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I was going to say is Vanderbilt probably did more for its hosting this weekend than anybody in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, to be,
I think that's fair.
You go to Arkansas and do what they did,
2 or 3,
and I feel like you win that series against the number 2 team in the country. That right there solidifies them as a you can't argue against it if it happens, and that they're top 8 seed. So that was a big weekend for them.
Yeah, I think you could make a pretty strong case that if they won 1, they'd host anyway, but 2 certainly did it. And again, 2 put them in that spot to where I think 2 weekends is hard to argue against right now. I mean, I would put Alabama in that category too. Alabama needed to win probably 3 this weekend to be in that hosting mix. The RPI now up to 12. So I would say Alabama was right there, and that did the most to help itself. But yeah, certainly, and Auburn too, but certainly Vandy, I think solidified as good of options as anybody did, because they were a team, in Virginia right there with them too, needing to have a great weekend. And both those teams took care of business.
Chris Lee with Southeastern 14 joining us on the Real Property Solutions hotline here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris, Yow and I were talking off air, and somebody's projecting Tennessee to Miami. What do the Vols have to do to host?
That's a great question. Tennessee, to me, if Tennessee wins a couple down there, and the RPI doesn't move a lot, which right now it's at 16, that's going to be very interesting. The problem for Tennessee is the record away from Knoxville. Tennessee's 4-12 on the road, and D1 says 1-1 on neutral sites. I think that's 1-2 unless they count the Grand Canyon game as a home game for Grand Canyon, since it was in Arizona. But I don't think that's the case. And if I'm right, that would be 5-14 away from Knoxville. So you want to see some evidence that Tennessee can win somewhere else besides Lindsey Nelson. You got a little bit of evidence of that this weekend when Tennessee went into South Carolina and looked pretty good in winning 2 or 3 there. The other issue for Tennessee is that the number 205 non-conference schedule. I think that's kind of sometimes a garbage stat, but the NCAA, when it's looking for reasons to exclude a team or to choose between 2 teams, that's a popular one. And if you want to dig a little deeper, and look, granted, some of these games against top 25, a lot of these were top 10, and a lot of these RPI top 50 games were probably closer to the, to the higher end and lower end. But if you want to nitpick a little bit, Tennessee is 19-17 against the top 100. Did a lot of those wins, looking at it now, 19-1 against the top 100 and worse in the RPI. So I think if you're the Vols, you want to do some work. Now, the good news for Tennessee is I think the pieces, even though I think launch angle and everything is a big part of that park, and they sort of recruit hitters probably based on those characteristics, Tennessee's got a lot of arms, guys, and they're capable of winning that tournament. In fact, that's who I picked to win the tournament. So if I'm right, I don't know that Tennessee will have much to worry about in terms of hosting, but if the Vols don't get a couple of games, and especially if Auburn and Alabama and South Carolina do some work, that might be one where Tennessee is going to Miami or somewhere like that.
And again, as you talked about their record away from, they certainly want to play that first weekend at home anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And it does make you wonder if I don't know that any team in the country is going to be more vulnerable to where they're sent. Because if that record, I mean, you can look at it a couple ways. You can say, look at the overall record, and that suggests they're not going to win outside of that park. You can also look at it and say they played a brutal first half of the SEC schedule. That's where a lot of the road losses came. They did just win 2 or 3 at South Carolina, but let's be honest, Carolina is playing its worst ball of the year and really struggling. It's got some dudes out. And so I'm not going to say put an asterisk next to that, because it's not easy to win in anybody's park in the league, regardless of the circumstance. But yeah, they're an interesting team, because I could see that going a lot of ways. I wouldn't want to play them in any park, and I certainly wouldn't want to play them in Knoxville.
Okay, so here's the question that I have. This is obviously not as cut and dried as softball, but would you rather be a 2 seed in the 10th seeds region instead of the 16 overall?
No. I'd rather play at home.
All right.
And then take your chances in the Super?
Well, I guess it depends. It depends on what your goal is, right? If it's trying to win it all, then maybe I would. But if you're trying to advance, and the first step in advance is to win, and usually the best way to win is to play in your park. I would rather play at home under most circumstances, unless you're playing a juggernaut.
Well, and obviously in softball, being the 16 seed means you see Oklahoma a lot
eventually,
a lot sooner than you would want to, and that's kind of where the question comes from. And baseball, it's not quite as cut and dried as that, so that's why I was curious if there was maybe some nuance there with baseball. Tennessee, you mentioned it; they've got the arms. This is a tournament sport where now arms are at a premium. They've got the best arms in the Southeastern Conference by most metrics. Is that why they have a chance to make a run, much like even Ole Miss did last year?
Yeah, I think that's one of 3 things. Number 2, that's a team that likes to go there and play that event hard. I mean, Tennessee had nothing to play for last year and won the tournament. I think that, purposefulness, it counts for a lot in Hoover. I think that's number 2. And I think the other thing, you look at the matchups, and they get A&M. That's a very winnable game first. And I think, pardon me, guys, I should have the bracket in front of me, but I don't. They get Arkansas in game 2. And Arkansas, I don't know what Arkansas has to play for, to be honest with you, because they're going to be a top 8 national seed, probably a 4 at worst, or a 5 at worst, maybe. And so Arkansas has had more trouble than anybody staying healthy. Its shortstop got hurt this weekend, John Bolton. They got arms hurt. They got outfielders that just came back. If you're Arkansas, just get through that thing healthy. So I like the way it lines up for Tennessee with the depth of pitching and the opponents. LSU was also in the top half of that bracket. LSU is a team that can't find a pitcher outside of Paul Skeens right now. That's definitely something you want to face is the arms get worn down there. I just think it's that, and I think they got, in what my mind, at half of the bracket that matches up much better for what they're trying to do than the bottom half.
And Chris, like you said, to your point, we've seen teams that didn't have a whole lot to play for in Hoover that didn't stick around very long.
Yeah. Mississippi State, the year it won the national title 2 years ago, looked awful, got run ruled its 2 games down there. Ole Miss last year won the national title, got beat by Vanderbilt in the single elimination round. You see a lot of teams that play well in that event and don't play well the next week sometimes. Maybe that's just a coincidence. Maybe it's not getting guys rested. But I remember when Vandy won its first national title, I think maybe beat Tennessee first game, lost 2 more. No, in 2019, they won it all in Hoover and won it all nationally. But, yeah, I don't know that there's always a correlation between Hoover and other things. Maybe sometimes if confidence is the thing that you need, then it pays off. But otherwise, if you've already taken care of your business, there's been plenty of team that's gone down there and gone 2 and barbecue and ended up maybe better for it.
Chris Lee again on the Real Property Solutions hotline here with us. And Chris, before we let you go, Hoover is just it's a spectacular event. And for those who haven't gotten a chance to go down there, it's worth going down and just sitting there and watch baseball all day long, because it's a great place, whether you have trouble getting in or out nowadays. But traffic's gotten a lot worse than it used to be. But other than that, Hoover, pretty solid spot.
It's kind of a baseball heaven. The tickets are pretty reasonable. I mean, I think they are. I haven't ever paid for one. I'm always on a media pass when I'm down there, but it seems like they are from what I hear.
Well, for the number of people that are there, it seems like they are.
Right. And I can't make it this year. We've got some family things here, so I'll be watching from TV. But I love that event. The city does it so well. Everybody there's hospitable. The baseball's great. I mean, this year alone, and I say this every year, but man, especially this year, look at the pro prospects you're going to get to see. You're going to see Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens, Hagen Smith for Arkansas. Florida's got White Langford, who's a top 5 pick. Jack Caglione, who's a 2-way player. Hurston Waldrop, potential first-round pick. Vandy's got Enrique Bradfield Jr., who's a first-round pick this year. Hunter Owen, if he throws, he's a first-round pick probably this year. You just got, Alabama's got arms. Tennessee's got arms. Chase Dolander's a first-round pick. Like, if you just want to go and watch good baseball for a few days and see guys you're going to see in the majors and see it at a very reasonable price, man, I have a hard time beating that, what they put on in Hoover, because you get to see a lot of dudes in a short period of time.
No question. Chris, we appreciate you taking some time with us today. Look forward to talking with you again soon. And good luck with your weekend and the television. I'm sure your spot on the couch will stay warm.
It will indeed. And I look forward to it.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Take
Chris.
care. All right, Chris Lee again on the Real Property Solutions hotline. Real Property Solutions will buy your home as is. Just give them a call, 615-527-8750. Take what you want, leave what you don't. Don't even worry about cleaning. That's all you got to do. Just give them a call, and they'll take care of the rest for you, and they'll close on your timeline, whether it's 7 days or 70. Mo, spring fling is
upon us.
Tomorrow.
Well, with the exception of Community in Westmoreland.
It's
not upon them just yet.
Not just yet. That's right. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll kick off with some of our local teams here, but it's an almost week-long event that I look forward to. I think this may be my favorite of the championships. I love the Blue Cross basketball. I love basketball. But getting around town and having to kind of, navigate your schedule, I'm a weirdo. I like to have my Excel spreadsheet with where I'm going to be and how long it's going to take me to get there and that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, that goes back to your Captain Chaos thing.
I do love a little chaos. That's true.
So, well, you're going to have it this week. So, this is the event for you. But no, it's I think the fun of it is being able to see so many different championships pursued in such a short period of time and in such close proximity to each other like this. I mean,
baseball's the only one that I struggle with because you got to travel sometimes.
You do sometimes have to travel depending on, who it is you're covering, because I mean, there are no baseball complexes.
Right.
You can't fit, 8 high school sized baseball fields in one place unless you're at East Cobb or something like that.
Right.
So
and
yeah.
And that's one of the things I like about it is that the Rutherford County schools have such great baseball facilities. And so why would you want to bring them all to one place?
Yeah.
Let's show it off because it is really nice. I mean,
and I do think one thing that's cool this year is that all the state championships are going back to MTSU's Reese Smith Field for baseball. So,
and that's
you can camp out on Friday and see a lot of good baseball.
And that's the one thing I hate about softball.
Yeah, if there was a wish list, you would try to get the championship games moved to MTSU's softball facility. Yep, and that might be something we have to ask Coach Reeves about here at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that, that it's not been discussed at some point over the years, but I would love to see that. Just having it on a signature field where you can camp out. Now I know, at those games you can kind of move between fields and see 2 or 3 at a time if you work at it. But otherwise I'd rather just sit there and watch 5 or 6 softball games in a day. That'd be fantastic. I would love to see it. But, and when, track being back at Dean Hayes, it was there last year too, but
it was there last year.
2
The year
years
before
ago,
it was out at Rockville, and
that was a trip.
That's literally
the only good thing about going to Rockville is that you pass Rick's Barbecue and you can stop there, but that's about it. Now, if you want to go see Eagleville baseball, you could probably find your way too. But yeah, Spring Fling is a lot of fun, and again, track will start tomorrow. And that'll be, again, at Dean Hayes Stadium on the campus of MTSU. We'll have baseball across Rutherford County, at Siegel, Oakland,
tennis,
Rockville.
Oh yeah, all of them.
All 8 schools just about, and it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, Riverdale and Eagleville, I think, like you said,
Right.
Oakland and Siegel. I think there's something at Smyrna.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see.
Check your local listings.
You can see one if you want to. Softball is at the complex, so you don't have to. It's at the Starplex, so all you have to do is just go to the Starplex, and between the 2 sides, you can find plenty of softball there. Soccer, now that is at the Siegel Soccer Complex. All of it takes place there, and then tennis is at the Adams Complex, which is over on Old Fort, and easy to get to from the hotel. Thank goodness. So I could probably walk, actually, if I mean, it'd be a long one, but I could do it.
I don't think you'd want to do that.
But should be fun. Should be a lot of great. Again, Chip Walters and Neil Price have got you covered the rest of the week, and we appreciate you guys being with us. So, Mo, also tell them follow you at Mo Patton _sports for updates throughout the week, and of course at Main Street Preps as well, and even here on at MS _sports today we'll be retweeting sports scores from high schools and whatnot. But we appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you after Memorial Day.
Yes,
it's going to be Tuesday of next week before we see you. So, boy, our voices will be well rested. We'll have plenty to talk about on Reaction Tuesday. So,
Yeah, no doubt.
y'all come back with us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Until then, take care.